Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, all my NB friends. You are tuned in to Sacred Voices on KGNU. It is the second Friday of the month, and that means it is time for the Sacred Voices show on Metro Arts. My name is Astin. I am on the board of directors for Sacred Voices. Sacred Voices is an Indigenous-led, youth-serving nonprofit organization based in Denver, Colorado. We put on an open mic night every fourth Friday of the month at 700 Calumet Street with our partners Denver Open Media. Today I am talking with Bri Hill, who is another member of our board of directors. How are you doing today, Bri?
Doing great. It is a very lovely, what day is it? Thursday? It's a very lovely Thursday.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed, this is a bit of a different take on our usual show. Normally we are in the studio, but if you've been listening to KGNU, then you've probably noticed that most of the shows on this station have been with phone calls or with remote listening or whatever. It's a very different time. How have you been coping with it, Bri?
To be quite frank, I don't know. It's really hard for me, but I have been honestly just like trying to get into like my art stuff more and using technology as like that pathway. I've been going on live both on like Facebook and Instagram, just like painting or like reciting poetry. So I've been doing that mostly almost every day on my social medias.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, with all of the social distancing rules, it can be hard to scratch that social itch that is, I mean, it's pretty innate in all people. So, everybody needs somebody to talk to. I feel for the people who are, quarantining by themselves. It must be really hard. But it brings up an interesting point. You were talking about like painting more and, being more in touch with your art. What is it like to be an artist or a poet who is quarantined right now?
Oh, I got this question asked by a young person the other night. And it's really hard to be an artist in quarantine because like most of my artistry, like I get from other artists. So like going to open mics, going to like art galleries, going to events that have like actual human beings there. And that's where I get like my creativity from. And now that I'm like stuck inside and can't like go see other people, it's like really diminished like some of my creative flows. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do now? Like I can't, go to like an open mic. I can't go to an art gallery. Like, I don't know. It's been making me think, I'm like, am I really an artist? Like, yikes. It's a big
I've
yikes.
yeah, I agree. It is a pretty big yikes for me as well, because I'm a musician, and I do most of my work by myself to begin with, but even though I'm stuck by myself inside because of the quarantine, I find that it's still really hard to work on art. I know that some people, a lot of art comes from struggles or tough times, but for me, when times like this are happening, I just I can't help but watch a lot of TV or play video games or something. I can't focus as much. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I've been like, because I'm like juggling work at home, but also like being a human at home with my family. So I've been like watching anime, reading a lot of books that I have, which is cool. Like I like to read, but there are some times where I'm just like, maybe I'll get up and write a poem and then I'll like sit outside and I'm like, nothing is coming to me. I don't need to go watch some more anime.
I feel that. That's because writing poetry, writing songs, or making art of any kind, it's still work, even if it is, therapeutic or your passion or whatever. That's what I've found anyway.
I feel like poetry and painting for me right now, since I'm trying to do it like on my live streams and stuff, I feel like it's been pretty therapeutic for me and for other people who like come in on the live. Just like to watch someone make creative things. I know that most of my friends are like, hey, I picked up painting because I saw your live. Or some of my friends are like, can we go live together so we can recite poetry together? So like it's been therapeutic for like me to like create online with friends with my art.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
And how's the response been to that? Like people who are joining in on these lives, have you noticed a difference in the way people are because of the situation now?
I think people are more open to see what you have to create. And they're more like willing to come back to it. Like I know I've been going live like almost every day, and I've seen like kind of the same people on my live streams like every day, like tuning in, like being a part of it and like engaging with me. So I think like during this isolation, like people are trying to find something that like will replace their norms for them, like will replace like that feeling of like going out where they're like, oh, we know that Bri is going to go live on their Instagram. I'm going to tune in. So I think people are more like wanting to like be a part of this artistic thing, but maybe just like as a voyeuristic view.
Right. And do you think that once, you know, social distancing ends and things go more or less back to normal, that this will continue? That people like you who are doing all these live shows now, do you think it'll keep going after this is over? You have a new audience, a new thing now, or not?
Uh, I honestly don't know how humans are going to be once we get out of the social distancing thing. I feel like they're going to be like, great, we can like go be reckless and like go stupid, go crazy, and then like not like go back to art. I think I'm going to like bully all the people who like have been going to my live streams to like come to physical open mics. Because I'm like, well, you were there
Yeah.
like almost every day for my live stream. What's the difference between like driving to this open mic?
Right.
So I'm definitely going to push them.
Yeah, I know for me it's given me a newfound desire to really go out and go to these events because, you know, when it becomes an arduous task to go to like the grocery store or anything, being deprived of any sort of culture makes me want to go to like local art shows and open mics and all of those types of things all the more.
I can't wait until we get out of social distancing. I'm gonna go to every first Friday on Santa Fe. I'm gonna go to Redline. I'm gonna stay out everywhere.
Yeah. And it's definitely been a bit of a challenge for our organization as well. For Sacred Voices, we're trying to switch to a Zoom based open mic, which I mean for me personally has been tough because I've never really used Zoom before. You're more of a Zoom person, so it's a better transition for you. But you know, still seeing all of these different small organizations and artists trying to adapt, it's been easier for some than others. I think that you've done a pretty good job of it. You've adapted pretty quickly, even if it isn't your favorite.
It's not my favorite. I am more of like an engaging person. So if I make eye contact with you in the crowd, like I'm gonna like engage with you. But like I don't know. It's weird. I like want to throw my laptop out the window sometimes because I'm like I am tired of technology.
Yeah, I think we might be a bit different there. I mostly just get aggressively bored. But I wanted to switch gears and talk about your work in particular, your poetry. So I don't have any clips to play right now, but a lot of your poems talk about various forms of identity, whether that be non-binary or black identity or whatever. So can you talk to us about the inspirations for your work? How do you get to the place where you can write a poem like you do?
Yeah, so writing poems in Bree's head is like very messy, so I won't go into that. But I like really sit and think with myself about like who I am and like where I've come from and where I'm going. But I also think about like the young people I work with and the young people I interact with who are, you know, like queer and trans, who are like black and brown youth. And I try to write from my experiences to like engage them, to inspire them, to like empower them to like sit with themselves and understand who they are. So most of my poetry and my poems and my art that I do, like I do it so that I can empower other people to look inside of themselves. And I've noticed that I do that a lot. Um, and it's just something that like I have gotten really good at. It's been my power that I am proficient at, and so that's what, yeah.
And that's really great, and it's one of the things that Sacred Voices tries to do is to really inspire the youth and to get them to look inwards like that. But I'm wondering if the timeline goes backwards with that. Who was that person to you who inspired you and made you look inwards to yourself like that?
This is hilarious because I had a live stream last night with my all-time favorite person, Carrie Joy. She is this phenomenal Black queer woman who like has power and is God. I've been following her art, her work since I was a sophomore in college. Um, and yeah, she we started working together recently, and it's been like phenomenal to like work with a mentor and work with like someone who has inspired me since I was like real young and like getting into my career as an artist. So like looking at Carrie Joy and seeing her art and seeing the way that she does it really inspires me to like keep going and like make my voice heard.
And for those of us who don't know, could you talk to us about Carrie Joy? What do they do, and what about them, or what piece of work have they done that's really inspired you in particular?
Yeah, so Carrie Joy she's an artist, she's a poet, she sings a little bit, and she's a really dope organizer. Most of the time you'll see, the bad couple of Carrie Joy and Candy Sudabaka, the congresswoman, is super dope. You'll see them out together and they just do phenomenal work, and I want to cry every time I see them. Um, but there is this one piece that Carrie Joy did. She did it for her TEDx event speech. I don't know, but she did this one poem, and I think it's called "I'm Rooting for Everybody Black." And it was an adaptation off of what Issa Rae said when she was on the red carpet, and they're like, "Oh, who are you rooting for tonight?" And she was like, "I'm rooting for everybody Black." And so Carrie Joy made this piece where like she literally is rooting for everybody Black, because like rooting for everybody Black means that you're rooting for yourself. And when I heard that, I was like, it's over, it's done. I want to be like this person. Like I like slammed my laptop down. I was like, I'm gonna keep writing. Like this person is who I want to be. Like her power, her voice, like that is something that I want.
That's great. And you said that you did an Instagram live with this person?
Yeah, so through my work, we are trying to get more art. I work for Project Voices of Youth, creating equity. We're trying to get more art to our young people. So now that they have like, online classes, DPS is like being DPS. We're trying to give them art so that they can like maybe ease their anxieties and like just like tune into something that'll help them. And so me and Carrie Joy went live last night at 8 o'clock on Facebook, on Project Voices Facebook page. And we were doing poems about love and intimacy and what that meant for us. And it was just like a nice night. Like it was full of love and my heart was happy.
I can imagine. I mean, what is it like to perform with someone who's such a big inspiration to you like that? I don't think many people really get the opportunity to do something like that.
It's cool. It's cool. Me and Carrie Joy are like friends now because we work together on like Project Voice, but also Interfest and also just like random like events throughout Denver. But like actually performing with her and like her like being in the same space as me and recognizing my like talent and art is something that always like gets me, like it like makes me want to tear up a little bit because I'm like my like mentor, my North Star is like seeing me and my art.
Yeah, that's I don't, like I said, I don't think a lot of people get to, like, I certainly haven't had the opportunity to do that. And that's really cool. Could you talk to us more about Project Voice?
Project Voice is a really dope nonprofit that was born around 2006 with the closure of Manual High School. It was made for and by students. So students made Project Voice who it was, with Kanti Sidabaka, our co-founder. And it has evolved into now that we train, employ, and organize youth of color to tackle issues in their community, to create equity in their community. And we partner with youth. So we have a youth adult partnership. So we don't work for youth, we work with them. So everything that we do, from like our programs, our summer programs, our after school programs, we always run it by youth because they're the ones that we are like doing this for. And if they don't want it, then like we have to change it. So that is who Project Voice is. That's what we do. It's a super great nonprofit. I really enjoy working with them. Um, yeah, we're currently doing care packages for our like community, for our young people, during this COVID crisis, which like just like shows like how much organizing skills like Project Voice like does for our community.
Yeah, that's really great. I wasn't too sure about what Project Voice was. I knew very little about them, so that's good to hear. And anybody who's listening, feel free to check out Project Voice. How could they reach Project Voice? Do they have a website, social media, stuff like that?
Yeah, so our social media and our website is Project Voice, VOYCE. If you have any direct questions, you can email team@projectvoice.org. Or if you like randomly find me on the internet, I can always get you in contact with Voice.
That's great. I encourage people to do that. I wanted to ask you about your performing abilities. You have performed at, I don't think every single one, but basically every single open mic that Sacred Voices has done since we had our renewal last April. What inspires you to perform so much, and how do you overcome the anxiety surrounding it? Because I know for me, I have terrible stage fright, and that's why I don't really go up. But you seem to have no problem with it. Could you talk about that for a bit?
Yeah. I have so much anxiety. As like someone who like performs a lot, you wouldn't think that I have anxiety. But every time I go up on stage, I'm just like, ah. But I think that's the reason why I go up on stage. Um, I just like I want to become better at going up on stage, making eye contact with people, and like engaging and like strengthening my public speaking skills, which is why like if given the opportunity, like I will always go up. Um, I'm also like trying to get better at memorizing my poems, so that's why I go up all the time. But it's really hard to memorize your poems, so I always have my phone. um, but yeah, also I just like going up on stage, especially at Sacred Voices. I feel like Sacred Voices is like my little playground, and I like to play a lot. Especially if like Charlie is there, I'd be messing with him so much. That's why I love to go. Like I'm just like I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to be better than Charlie. I'm gonna try to fight Charlie. Like it's just a fun time at Sacred Voices.
Yeah, that's a good plug for us. If you're interested in a fun time at an open mic, definitely check out our open mic.
They're pretty fun.
What advice would you give to people who, maybe they've started to write poetry and they're thinking about going up to perform, but they've never done it before? What advice would you give them to, get over that wall and to actually get up on stage?
I would say just do it. Just do it. I have never been to an open mic where like someone has told me that like my poems are complete trash. I should have never gone up. Like I should have just like stayed like in the audience. Like I've never like gone to an open mic or been in a space where like people have like attacked me for like being brave. So like in any space that you go to, like if people are going up and sharing like their hearts and their voices and like you feel inspired to do so, go up. No one is ever going to be like, boo, get off the stage. Unless you're like a rude person, then I'll be like, boo, get off the stage. But I don't think anyone who like is getting into poetry and like wanting to like, share their words and share their stories is a rude person. So just like take that first step And then like after you're done, everyone like goes wild. Everyone's like, that was so great. Like all the snaps, all the claps, and it just feels good. I would just say do it. And if you're not comfortable, that's okay. You can just keep coming. But if you like feel that itch more than once, you should go up.
I think that's great, and I think that people should take heed of that advice. Um, I should probably take some of that advice myself because I always talk myself out of going up.
You should do it. Astin, people need to hear your music. You are dope. If people have not heard Astin's music, just he's dope. All right. Just you
Well,
need to get up
thank you
there.
for saying that. I
Of
may,
course.
maybe I will on this Zoom one coming up. We'll see. If we could talk about some of the intersections of your different identities and how that can contribute to your poems and your inspirations, because I've heard a lot of your poems and you talk a lot about being black or being queer. How does that inspire you to write poems?
Yeah, so for the people who are listening or tuning in, I identify as a Black, queer, non binary person of good heart. I think I have a good heart. So most of the time, it influences me a lot because I don't really like come across that many Black queer poets. I don't really come across many Black trans poets. And if I do, like, they're really hard to find because either like their press hasn't like published them well enough, social media hasn't given them like the right platform, or I've just like stumbled upon them in like bookstores and I'm like, why have I not like discovered J. Dodd or Denez Smith or any of these amazing people? And so that's why most of the time I write about being Black, being queer, and being trans because I want like a younger Black trans person or Black queer person to like stumble upon my work easily. Like I don't want them to go searching for themselves. Like I want them to just have it.
Yeah, I think that it basically just comes down to representation, what you're talking about. And that's been a hot topic of conversation for all sorts of different media types in the past decade or so, trying to get more than just straight white cis people in media of all forms. And I think that's you're doing a good job of doing that. And the diversity that you see at our open mics, for one, is a testament to that.
Thanks.
You do have a tendency to invite a whole lot of people, and we're very thankful for that.
That's because people should come out. I be inviting literally all of my friends list, like especially on Facebook. They're like, "Who do you want to invite?" I'm like, all of them.
I think in the future, moving forward with all of the virus stuff, that, like we were saying before, people will be more likely to go out and hopefully, like, I don't know about you, but for me, I've been, talking on the phone more and doing like Discord calls with people or whatever. And it can be the start of new friendships that were online, and it could easily move into the real world once this is all over with things like these open mics or whatever, what have you. Like you have the people who are watching your live streams going to the open mics. That's a good pipeline right there.
Yeah. All the friends that I've made during this COVID pandemic will always be at the open mics because I'm going to bully them into coming.
I'm ready to hear all of the quarantine poems in April and May.
There's going to be
There's going to be a lot.
I'm not going to write one, but there's going to be so many.
Oh yeah, I can already see it now when I go on to Instagram and everything. There's a lot of people who are writing songs about being stuck inside because when there's nothing really going on in your life, it's hard to find inspiration to write. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready to hear all of the different takes on what it's like to just be alone in your own house.
I think honestly, my favorite quarantine poem that I saw recently was by Franklin. He like
I don't think
made
I've seen that one yet.
Poem. He posted it on the March 27th. It's just about like how people like start to like remember to like be in your backyard and like be with community. And I was like, I like this one.
Yeah, that's good. For anyone who is a frequent listener of this program, Franklin was one of our guests a couple months ago. I think it might have been January actually when we had him on the show. And he usually hosts our open mics, and he's a great poet. It's great to have him at our open mics. I'll have to check out that poem of his that he wrote. So yeah, let's finish this off here. We've got a few minutes left and talk about what life might be like after the pandemic ends, after everyone goes back to work and, we're on the other side of this. How artistically do you think that people will be and how they will have changed?
Um, I feel like people are starting to realize that the normal that we had wasn't made for us. And I think they're going to sort out like not a new sense of normal, but like what else can this world offer to us if like, we can cap insulin prices, if we can make art by ourselves, if we can stop loans. Like I feel like people are slowly going to start critiquing this world for what it actually is. And I think that's going to like influence their like creativity. I feel like they're going to start doing, more poems, more art pieces. They're going to start like showing up for their communities actually. And I think it's a lot of weird, like liberal eco fascist people are like, it's humanizing us. But I really do like agree that like this pandemic thing is humanizing us. And I think it's going to be like sought after in art.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think that there will be a lot of change that'll happen in a short amount of time because a lot of the conventions that we've adhered to for so long are just fake. Like you were saying, like we can cap insulin prices, we can, stop all these payments, and a lot of work can be done from home. So I think a lot of changes will happen there. And like you were saying, a lot of art will come out of it. So I think there's definitely an opportunity for some good to come out of it. And I can't wait to see it in hopefully a few months, not a few years. We will see
I
when
don't
all of
know if I
this
can
is over.
spend like one more month in my house. I just wanna go to an open mic.
Yeah, yeah, it's but for now, this is what we've got, and I hope all of you listening out there have enjoyed this. Once again, my name is Astin, and I have been talking with Bri Hill. Thank you for coming on once again.
Of course.
Where can people reach you?
People can reach me. I recently changed all my social media handles. Hold on. If you are on Facebook, you can reach me at Briannah, Briannah Hill. That's my full name. If you are on Instagram and Twitter, you can reach me at RTQ2. Or if you just want to go to my website, www.rtq.com, you can reach me there.
That is great. And if you are interested in seeing more about Sacred Voices, you can visit us on our website at sacred-voices.org. Facebook is Sacred Voices. Instagram is Sacred Voices Denver. Our next open mic will be held via Zoom on, let me check the date here, it'll be April 24th, and that will be at 6:30 p.m. We will have more details on how to access that on our website and our social media channels. Be on the lookout for that in the coming week or so. But for now, we will be saying goodbye. Stay safe out there. Bri, once again, thank you for joining us.
For having me.
And I will see you all next time. Thank you very much.